Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio. So today, wow, there's a couple new stadiums that we need to be having a little bit of a look about. And it's a little bit sad, it's taken me longer to get to these than I may have liked, but I am kind of excited about both of these stadiums. Oh yeah, and if you like either Lightning or Metal or Dragon Pokemon, you are probably going to be extremely happy here, because they're awesome. I don't even know which one to start with. Let's go Crystal Cave first. Now, the translations here come from the lovely Antoine Boulet, and Crystal Cave reads, once during each player's turn, that player may heal 30 damage from each of their Metal Pokemon and Dragon Pokemon. Yeah, it's one of them, their healing stadiums. And the thing is, healing stadiums, we don't see them all that much. But when we do see them, they tend to be awesome. Like, I cannot be the only person that saw this card whose mind went straight to Rough Seas. Now, Rough Seas said, once during each player's turn, that player may heal 30 damage from each of his or her Water Pokemon and Lightning Pokemon. And I'll be honest with you, Water and Lightning decks at the time that could afford to play this stadium, i.e. had space in their deck for a stadium and didn't have another stadium they needed to play instead, they played this. Because it's amazing. And the thing is, yeah, I know 30 damage isn't actually all that much. It's nice, but it takes a few turns to build up. The thing is, a lot of the time you have a few turns to build up. Because essentially what you do here is just retreat to the bench and wait. Simple as that. You retreat to the bench, you wait. Now this was, when I say this, I mean Rough Seas. Rough Seas was very popular with Mega Manectric. Now Mega Manectric was a Lightning Pokemon and Mega Manectric had free retreat. So essentially, what you would do here is attack with Mega Manectric until you had more damage on than you were comfortable with, and then you would just retreat to another Mega Manectric. And you would just do the whole thing over again. I mean, if we go back to a Pokemon like Altaria, this just brings on a whole new form. Like, Altaria's got that amazing ability, lets you search for a supporter card and put it on top of your deck. So it's going to be sitting there on the bench, but it's only got 90 HP. So your opponent may well be looking for some kind of spreading deck, hitting 20, 30, whatever, trying to 3 to 5 hit KO it while doing other things. Well, now that doesn't work anymore, because if your opponent does 30 damage to an Altaria, heal it off. If they do 50 damage, put it down to 20, then they go up to 70, you go down to 40, then they get the KO. If they're hitting 50 damage to your benched Altaria, that still turns into a free hit KO because of this stadium. And that's before we get into the really big boys like Duraludon. I am a big fan of Duraludon. And I can just retreat to the bench. And I can just put a new Duraludon up and wait. And now my opponent's got a choice. Do they go after the bench Duraludon, arguably getting easy prizes, or do they go after the active Duraludon? But if they go after the active, they know that the one on the bench is going to be healed up time after time after time. I mean, to be fair, I'm talking about Dragon Pokemon here. This does also really give a nice little boost to Zacian as well, and any other Metal Pokemon, though Zacian is the main one right now. So that's going to be kind of cool. Or maybe we'll look at those Corviknight decks, which are taking advantage of Cheryl and doing all the healing. But actually, even though they're taking advantage of Cheryl for the healing, now they've got this as well. And honestly, with this, we're going to go straight back to what I said about Rough Seas a few moments ago. Anytime you're playing a Metal or Dragon Pokemon deck, if you don't have another stadium you want to play instead, and obviously sometimes you will, but if you don't, this is your if you don't have anything better stadium. This is your unless you can prove me otherwise stadium, and I adore that. Rough Seas was a great card. This is going to be a great card. I feel super confident about that. I know I've been giving out lots of high scores over the past couple of days because, frankly, we've seen a lot of really good cards. And clearly what Pokemon are trying to do here is they're trying to buff Dragon Pokemon. They've brought Dragon Pokemon back, but they are acutely aware of the fact that the awkward attack cost on Dragon Pokemon is a pain. So you know what? Things like this will help. Also, and not for the first time I'm probably ever going to say this, can we all be very happy that this is coming out as Arceus, Naga, and Palkia rotates out? Because if there's one dragon that didn't need any extra help, it was that one. We don't want that doing all the healing. I am glad that is getting left behind. In your face, ADP. As for this one, between 4 and 5 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies. That would be barbaric. I could easily put it up to 5 or down to 4, so I suppose between 4 and 5 makes sense. I'll tell you this. There's going to be a lot of decks playing it. And for anyone wondering, it is kind of cool. Metal and Dragon because of Duraludon. This is essentially the Duraludon Stadium, and that makes me kind of happy. But if we've got a Duraludon Stadium, then presumably we also have a Rayquaza Stadium. We do! It's Tempest Range. It's another stadium, shockingly, and it reads, once during each player's turn, that player may search their deck for a basic Lightning Pokemon or basic Dragon Pokemon, put it onto their bench, and shuffle their deck. Yep. And I suppose if we took the old one and equated it to a pre-existing stadium, then we should probably take this one and relate it to an old stadium. It's Brooklet Hill. Brooklet Hill, once during their turn, the player may search for a basic water or basic fighting, put it onto their bench. Here, same deal, except it's lightning or dragon. And I love this. Now again, if you're playing a dragon Pokemon, one of the reasons you might not play the Healing Stadium is because of this. But similarly, one of the reasons you might not play this is because of the stadium. Which is a little bit weird, right? But hey ho, you can't win them all. This is going to be great in so many decks. Now, I just mentioned Duraludon. Weirdly enough, I don't know if Duraludon's going to like this stadium. Because as I told you in the Duraludon video, and if you haven't looked at that, I suggest you do. I'm kind of in love with that new Duraludon. The metal one is better. Short answer, you want the metal one so you can use Metal Saucer so the VMAX can attack more easily. I feel very confident you want the Metal Duraludon. At least until the next rotation, where that's in 2022, when Metal Saucer will be rotating. So that's not going to work. But for others, yeah. Like if you're playing a Rayquaza VMAX deck, this will guarantee a turn 1 Rayquaza. That seems pretty good. I mean, I told you about Flaffy. Flaffy is just a reprint of Electric, like a proper shameless reprint of Electric, and I'm into it, incidentally. So you need to have your Mareep. And now I got proper over the top with Rayquaza and said it was probably the best card in the Sword and Shield era so far. Incidentally, I still believe that. I didn't just say that for the effect. I think that's true. But the thing is, one of the problems with these kind of decks is they are prone to bricking, to not setting up. So imagine now, if you get this stadium, guaranteed turn 1 Mareep. Another turn 1 Mareep. Hopefully you've got several of them. And my point is you can just keep going. Any lightning deck, any dragon deck can use these to start setting up in the early game to start getting their Pokemon out. And again, we can look at Brooklet Hill and say, yeah, that actually saw a whole bunch of play. And then we can look at this and go, well, hang on a second. If Brooklet Hill saw a bunch of play, it seems pretty gosh darn likely that this will end up seeing a bunch of play. For lightning decks, you're going to need to either not want to play stadiums or have a better stadium. This is going to be your go-to. For Dragon, there really is going to be a choice. There are going to be some decks where healing that 30 is going to take key Pokemon out of range, or where you're going to be able to facilitate a game plan where you do go to the bench and heal turn after turn. For others, you are just going to want to absolutely race and get set up, in which case this is going to be better. Certainly if I'm playing Duraludon, I can't really take advantage because I'm using a Metal Stage 1, so I'm going to want the Healing Stadium, whereas if I'm playing Rayquaza and I'm basically playing Flaffy with Rayquaza, I am definitely going for Tempest Range here, and that's kind of my point, ladies and gentlemen. It is awesome. Again, I'm giving this between 4 and 5 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies. That would be barbaric. And honestly, if I hadn't been giving out 5 Wassies like candy over the past couple of days, there is a strong chance that I would have just given both of these 5 Wassies. They really are phenomenal stadiums. They're not for everyone, but literally not for everyone. By their very design, they are not for everyone. They only work with some decks. But for the decks they work with, they're brilliant. They are absolutely brilliant. But I want to know what you think, and I want to know which of the two is your favourite. So, let me know in the comment section, would you? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.